Welcome back. Today we're going to film the first of a two-part series in which we deconstruct this chair and then reupholster it. You might be wondering which fabric we chose, and if you'll recall, we ran a survey on Instagram where we asked you to choose for us. The results are in, and the winner was the Outdura blue, in this case Outdura Rumor Midnight fabric. So before we take the chair apart, what we're going to want to do is take a look at it. Are there any particularly worn spots, any hard edges, things that we can fix when we come back and reupholster it? I did a once over on the chair. I looked all around it to see if there were any early wear points or things that could have been done better. This chair was actually constructed very well. The only thing that I'm going to look to improve is this front edge. You can kind of see here that the fabric is worn because it's rubbing against a wooden edge. What we'll do is we'll probably pad it a little more, maybe bring our piping up more forward so that we don't have that early wear point when we're done. The way that this chair is constructed seems to be held together by 4 bolts, which are seen on the outside perimeter here. I believe if I unscrew each of the 4 of them, I'll be able to take off the arms and we'll have perfect access to all the upholstery. Are you kidding me? As I put my head on the bottom of this, I think I'm gonna clean it off a little bit. So, with any luck, we will be able to take off this arm. Let us see if that's the case. Woo-hoo-hoo! Nobody said reupholstery was a clean business. That's disgusting. What the hell is this? What the hell are these? That's disgusting. That is a leaf? At this stage, I think we're going to take some time to clean up this chair before we go any further. I don't know what this is, but it works really well. Ah! Once we have all the fabric off, we'll clean this wood a lot better than we just did. But for now, it at least gets it so I don't cringe every time I touch it. Okay, I need a flathead. This is a fairly simple chair. All we're gonna do is remove all the staples and figure out how much fabric we need. One thing I highly recommend before taking any of the fabric apart is taking a number of pictures with your phone so you can reference back to the pictures to see how it was constructed so that, you know, if you get delayed doing whatever, you can reference them when you're reassembling everything. Now we're going to pull out all the staples, so I'm going to flip it over so I have better access to both the top and the bottom. Oh boy. All right, we'll have to look at that later. You might be wondering what I'm using to get the staples out from this narrow area. It's just an awl, standard awl. Kind of smells like my grandma's basement. So before I start taking everything apart, I need to figure out the order of process. Obviously, if this panel is covering this panel, I want to make sure I reinstall this panel before I reinstall this panel. So right now I'm just trying to figure out how it's assembled. So for the piping, I don't care if I ruin it, I'm going to remake it so I can just rip this off. Now I don't want to go all the way to the back because it looks like it's under a panel, but what I wanted was to see this and the more staples that are here. And I'm just throwing all of these staples down here because I'm too lazy to find a trash can. Oh, okay, so these are some of the things I recommend taking pictures of just so you remember. So this boxing is sewn to the piping. They didn't sew the ladder part so they could pull the piping to tension it. And we're gonna wanna redo that or replicate it. I'm trying my darndest not to rip the fabric because I am gonna reuse it for my pattern with my new fabric. All right, again, there actually might be tack strip in here. And there is. Okay, all right, good. So we're going to actually remove this full back panel first. And what we'll see is a bunch of tack strips. In this case, they used flexible, which I'm not sure we're going to use again because this is a nice straight edge and they make straight edge tack strips, which are a bit easier to work with. Okay, so as I take this apart, you have your tack strips and then cardboard tack strip, which is what gives us the nice sharp edge. Almost looks like it's sewn to the piping. So we're gonna remove that as well. And then this entire panel should come off. And I'd like to talk about this tack remover, staple tack remover. One of the things that I really love about it, not only is its length and the bend for leverage, it's also, if you look at the prongs, they're very aggressive. Obviously, you can stab yourself with them, which I don't recommend, but because they're so sharp, even really deep staples are extremely easy to remove. So this is our back panel. I am actually going to find a marker and write on this so I have it as reference when I ultimately jumble them up to figure out how much fabric I need. Back panel. Okay. Might have to remove the staples or not. It's just be very careful with these. They have sharp teeth on them which help to grip the fabric. There we go. That's a sweet sound. If you're doing this at home, you're gonna reuse this. We're gonna reuse this. So let's save this. I have been asked the question, doesn't this hold a bunch of the sting? Do it, don't do it. I'm gonna do it for the sake of the video, but you can give it the sniff test. If it smells like smoke, animal, something disgusting, don't use it. Replace it. Smells fine. So we're going to save this. Let's replace this. Let's see what she looks like. Ugh. Okay, so because we decided that we're replacing it, no need to waste time trying to save the fabric. Ugh. Okay, so good. This reconstruction will be quite easy. So what we're gonna do next, obviously the next accessible part, is our piping. So I am gonna save this so I can figure out how much piping I need when I replace it. It is a pain in the butt always figuring out where I laid my tool. I think we're gonna solve that. We're gonna make a tool belt. Corbin! Corbin! I need a tool belt! Thanks! Funny, the hardest part of upholstery is remembering how the whole thing went together. Okay, so what do we have here? Ooh! Penny for your troubles. Everything should be unstapled and we should be able to remove our fabric. And this is all one piece. So we'll have to sew all this back together with the new fabric. Oh, I stand corrected. Top is one piece. Let's write down that. Top, front. And then our bottom. Oh, okay. One of the things we will get to is talking about foam. Oh, this foam has got to be replaced. Oh, before that, let's write down what this is, which shouldn't be hard to remember since it has a huge hole in it. Bottom seat, top. Oh, golly. Okay. Definitely redoing the foam. Now that we have all the fabric off, you can see the guts of the chair. And earlier I mentioned we might reuse the back padding. I think it's just going to be easier, better, and keep me more sane to remove all of this and replace it all with brand new stuff. But I do want to point out one thing. Earlier in the video we mentioned there was a hard edge. You can see why that occurred now. This foam didn't come up far enough, so the fabric worked back and this sharp edge was left exposed to start chafing into the fabric. So we're gonna get rid of all this. I'm not gonna use any of this either. Oh, what the? Okay. I think we're gonna replace this too, and why I'm thinking that is the fabric is not strong enough to give a consistent layer here. So what that does is it cuts into the foam over time. Now, I guess this is probably the skin of the foam bun. If they didn't have this, it would be cutting into the foam itself and it would result in a deprecated life of it. So we're gonna replace this fabric as well. So here you can really see it. It's even started to break through. We do not want this. We need something to provide better support than this fabric. Trying to remove this so that it can be reused is just going to be time consuming. What is that, paper? See, there's paper there. We'll figure out later what that's for. A couple things to note that you might see, and that is I'm switching tools. The biggest difference is I'm just giving my hand a break, but also using this one, the shorter, allows me to easily position it underneath the staple that's particularly deep, and it allows me to hammer under it so I can pry it out more easily. We have removed everything from the chair, we've got it cleaned up, and now it's ready for reupholstery. So that concludes the first of this two-part series, so please subscribe and stay tuned for our next video, which will cover reupholstering this chair. It's gonna look good.